Society has conditioned you to believe that selflessness is the pinnacle of virtue, that helping others without expecting anything in return will earn you love, loyalty, and a place in the universe's good graces. You've been told that kindness is a currency that always pays dividends, that being there for others makes you indispensable, and that generosity builds unbreakable bonds. This is a lie, a seductive myth designed to keep you tethered to the needs of others while your own power slips away. Niccolò Machiavelli, the master of strategic thinking, saw through this illusion. He didn't call kindness evil, but he warned that unguarded generosity is a dangerous trap. When you give too freely, you don't rise as a leader, you sink into servitude. Strategic selfishness, Machiavelli argued, is not cruelty but a calculated preservation of your power, time, and energy. This expanded exploration delves into the brutal truths of human nature, revealing why prioritizing yourself is not just necessary, but the most powerful act you can undertake. To build an empire of influence, the hidden cost of unreciprocated help. Machiavelli's first law of strategic selfishness is a stark warning. Unpaid debts breed resentment, not loyalty. The more you give to others without demanding value in return, the faster they rewrite the narrative to diminish your contribution. When you help someone without making your worth explicit, they don't see you as a benefactor, they see you as a servant fulfilling an expected role. Over time, they downplay your efforts, convincing themselves your help was obligatory, not extraordinary. This isn't gratitude. It's a defense mechanism to protect their ego from the weight of their debt to you. The danger lies in their silence. They won't admit this to your face. Instead, they'll cancel plans, speak about you dismissively behind your back, or twist your generosity into manipulation to justify their ingratitude. Consider a workplace scenario where you consistently stay late to help a struggling colleague meet deadlines. At first, they thank you profusely, but soon, your help becomes their expectation. They stop acknowledging your sacrifice, assuming it's just what you do. When you finally set a boundary, they don't express gratitude for past efforts. They resent you for withdrawing support, whispering to others that you're not a team player. This is the pattern Machiavelli observed in politics. A prince who frees a city often earns hatred, not love, because the people resent the debt they owe him. In personal relationships, the same dynamic unfolds. A friend who relies on your emotional support may grow distant when you prioritize your own needs, framing your self-care as selfishness to avoid confronting their dependence. This resentment stems from a universal human flaw. People hate feeling indebted. When they can't repay you, whether with gratitude, loyalty, or action, they protect their pride by diminishing you. They'll call you too nice to avoid admitting they've used you, or they'll accuse you of ulterior motives to justify their ingratitude. Machiavelli's insight is clear. Unchecked kindness creates a power imbalance that invites betrayal. By giving without strategy, you train others to see your time, energy, and resources as theirs to claim, eroding your autonomy and turning you into a function rather than a force. The trap of habitual help. From childhood, you've been programmed to believe that helping others is inherently good, that selflessness defines a good person. This conditioning is not about your growth, it's about ensuring your labor is available to others. You were taught to help habitually, not strategically. And now saying no feels like a betrayal of your identity. Every time you decline a request, guilt creeps in, whispering that you're cold, selfish, or distant. But Machiavelli's truth is uncompromising. If helping others costs you your peace, power, or purpose, it's not help, it's self-betrayal. And self-betrayal breeds resentment, not just toward others, but toward yourself. As you realize you've sacrificed your own path for those who wouldn't do the same, habitual helping sends a dangerous signal. Your time belongs to others, your peace is secondary to their chaos, and you'll carry their burdens without question. Over time, people stop seeing you as an individual with your own goals and boundaries. They view you as a tool, a therapist, a fixer, a crutch. This isn't respect, it's dependence. And dependence without reciprocity is extraction. You're giving, they're taking, and you're calling it connection. In a personal context, imagine a friend who constantly unloads their problems on you. Each time you drop everything to listen, you reinforce their expectation that you're always available. Eventually, they don't value your support, they Demand it, growing irritated when you're not at their beck and call. In a professional setting, a colleague who relies on you to solve their issues may take credit for your work, assuming your help is their entitlement. Machiavelli warned that those who endlessly rescue others risk drowning alongside them. Weak people don't rise when you save them. They sink deeper, knowing you'll dive in after them. This cycle traps you in a role you never chose, draining your energy and diverting you from your own trajectory. The more you prioritize others' needs, the more you lose momentum, delay your goals, and build an identity around being the dependable one. This identity is a cage, locking you into a life of service, while others climb the ladder you've built for them. The hidden costs of selflessness. Unstrict helping exacts a heavy toll, often invisible until it's too late. First, it destroys your time discipline. Every moment spent putting out someone else's fires is a moment stolen from your own ambitions. In a business context, imagine you're working on a critical project, but a coworker keeps interrupting with urgent requests. Each time you pause to help, your focus fractures, your deadlines slip, and your momentum stalls. Over time, these interruptions don't just steal your time, they derail your trajectory, preventing you from reaching your full potential. Second, habitual helping breeds secret contempt. You tell yourself you're acting out of kindness, but deep down, you start expecting something in return: gratitude, respect, or a favor. When these don't materialize, resentment festers. You can't voice it without seeming petty, so you swallow it, pretending everything is fine. This unspoken frustration builds until it erupts, and suddenly, you're labeled dramatic for reacting to the ingratitude you've silently endured. For example, you might spend hours mentoring a junior colleague, only to find they take your advice for granted. When you finally express frustration, they act surprised, claiming they never asked for your help, leaving you feeling used and betrayed. Third, aimless helping attracts the weak and repels the strong. Strong individuals value boundaries and independence. They seek equals, not enablers. Weak people, however, are drawn to your willingness to help, sensing an opportunity to offload their problems. The more you give without discernment, the more you become a magnet for those who refuse to grow, who thrive on dependency rather than evolution. In a social circle, you might notice that the people who constantly seek your advice never act on it. They return with the same problems, expecting you to fix them again. Meanwhile, the ambitious, self-reliant individuals drift away, uninterested in a dynamic where you're perpetually playing savior. Strategic selfishness. The path to power. Machiavelli's solution is strategic selfishness, not cruelty, but a deliberate prioritization of your own power, time, and energy. This means helping only when it aligns with your interests, strengthens your position, or builds alliances with those who can elevate you. It's not about becoming heartless, it's about becoming selective, ensuring that every act of help is a calculated investment, not a selfless donation. By giving less but smarter, you earn respect rather than exhaustion, building an empire on your terms rather than serving someone else's. In practice, strategic selfishness requires a mental shift. Stop offering help unprompted. Let others come to you, and even then, make them earn it. For example, in a professional setting, if a colleague asks for help on a project, don't immediately say yes. Instead, respond with, "Let's see how we can align this with our goals. What's in it for both of us?" This sets a boundary, signaling that your time is valuable and not freely given. In personal relationships, if a friend seeks emotional support, listen briefly, then redirect. "That sounds tough. What's your plan to handle it?" This encourages their independence while preserving your energy. Machiavelli's wisdom is clear. The man who helps selectively is chased by those who recognize the rarity of his energy. By saying no more often, you create scarcity, increasing your perceived value. In a workplace negotiation, declining to take on extra tasks without clear benefits signals that you're not a resource to be exploited. You're a force to be reckoned with. In social dynamics, refusing to solve everyone's problems makes you a mystery, someone whose attention must be earned, not assumed. The power of no. The most powerful word in the language of power is no, not maybe, not let me think about it, but a firm, unapologetic no. This word is not rejection, it's self-ownership, a declaration that your time, energy, and resources are yours to control. Every time you explain or soften your refusal, you invite negotiation, giving others a chance to guilt you into compliance. A clear no sets a boundary, reinforcing your hierarchy and signaling that your presence is a privilege, not a right. Imagine a scenario where a friend repeatedly asks for last-minute favors, like driving them to appointments. Instead of agreeing out of habit, you say, "No, I can't this time," when they press for an explanation. Resist the urge to justify. Your refusal alone is enough. It forces them to respect your boundaries or reveal their entitlement. In a professional context, if a manager asks you to take on extra work without compensation, a simple no, "My current priorities don't allow for that," establishes your value without burning bridges. This disciplined detachment is what Machiavelli meant by strategic selfishness. It preserves your power and keeps you in control. The backlash of boundaries. When you embrace strategic selfishness, expect resistance. Those who've grown accustomed to your availability will push back, framing your boundaries as arrogance or betrayal. They'll say, "You've changed," or "You used to be so kind, what happened?" These accusations aren't about you, they're about their fear of losing access to your energy. Your evolution threatens their comfort, forcing them to confront their own dependency or laziness. In a family dynamic, a sibling who relies on you for financial support might call you selfish when you cut them off, but their anger reveals their reliance, not your fault. Machiavelli knew that power isolates, not because you're cruel, but because your detachment exposes others' weaknesses. Those who benefited from your self-sacrifice will try to guilt you back into place, using emotional sabotage to maintain control. In a workplace, colleagues who leaned on your expertise might whisper that you're too good for the team when you stop overextending yourself. In friendships, those who thrived on your availability may distance themselves when you prioritize your own goals. This backlash is a test. Stand firm, and you'll filter out the leeches, attracting allies who respect your boundaries. The illusion of indispensability. Greatest lie society sells is that helping others makes you indispensable. In reality, it makes you expendable. When you give too freely, people sense an underlying need for validation, and the power dynamic shifts. They no longer see you as a leader, but as someone eager to please. Predictable and exploitable. Machiavelli observed that a prince who gives too generously creates dependency, not loyalty. And the moment the gifts stop, gratitude turns to entitlement. In modern terms, think of a co-worker who relies on you to fix their mistakes. When you stop, they don't thank you for past help, they resent you for withdrawing, claiming you're not a team player. This dynamic is evident in personal relationships too. A partner who expects you to manage their emotional chaos may praise you as their rock. Until you set boundaries, suddenly, you're distant or uncaring, not because you've changed, but because you've stopped playing their game. By giving less, you reveal who values you for you and who values you for what you provide. This revelation is the brutal beauty of strategic selfishness. It exposes true character, separating allies from opportunists, rewiring your mindset. Strategic selfishness requires a complete rewiring of how you view help. It's not an act of goodness, but a currency to be traded wisely before helping anyone. Apply Machiavelli's mental filter system. 1. Intent filter. Why are they asking? Are they seeking guidance or outsourcing responsibility? Are they truly stuck, or are they addicted to your attention? For example, a friend who repeatedly asks for advice on the same issue isn't seeking growth, they're using you as an emotional crutch. Reciprocity filter. Will this be remembered or resented? Has this person supported you in the past, or do they only take? A colleague who never acknowledges your help but expects it repeatedly is a liability, not an ally. 3. Trajectory filter. Does this move you forward? Does helping align with your goals, expand your influence, or strengthen your network? If it drags you into drama or delays your progress, it's a loss, not a gain. In a business context, imagine a client asking for free consulting. Instead of agreeing, ask, "How does this align with our mutual goals?" If they can't offer value in return, politely decline. In personal life, if a friend seeks constant reassurance, redirect them. What steps are you taking to handle this? This preserves your energy while encouraging their independence. Helping as a weaponized King. Machiavelli's deeper wisdom is that help should be a transaction, not a donation. Make it cost something: effort, loyalty, or exclusivity. If someone hasn't earned your presence, they won't value it. Never help the same way twice. Repeat favors weaken you, making others dependent and you expendable. Help once, then step back, letting them prove their worth. Only invest in those with momentum: people building, growing, or protecting something valuable. Helping the stagnant pulls you down, while helping the ambitious creates alliances that elevate you. Sometimes, the greatest favor is to stop helping, forcing others to face their own failures. In a family dynamic, cutting off financial support for a relative who refuses to grow may seem harsh, but it pushes them toward independence. In a workplace, refusing to cover for a colleague's mistakes compels them to take responsibility. This cold mercy, as Machiavelli would call it, preserves your power while giving others a chance to rise or fall on their own. Conclusion: the empire of selective loyalty, strategic selfishness, is not about abandoning kindness, but about wielding it with precision. By prioritizing your own power, you build an empire that commands respect, not obligation. Stop bleeding for those who wouldn't offer a bandage. Stop watering those content to stay dry. Your time is your empire, and empires are built on clarity, force, and ruthless priority. The man who helps selectively doesn't lose people, he loses leeches. Gaining allies who value his scarcity. Embrace Machiavelli's truth: power doesn't come from being useful, but from being untouchable. Say no unapologetically, help strategically, and watch your influence rise as others chase the privilege of your presence.